Welcome back to the Prepare Like a Pro podcast. This week on the show, we have Jacob van Rooyen. Jacob is one of the most recognised upcoming AFL players in the 2021 draft. Not only an elite football player, he loves surfing, hanging out at the beach with family and friends. His local club is the Wembley Downs. He's a part of the NAB League Academy team, which is the same as what it's been as the All-Australian squad in the past. State team is Claremont, and the team that he barracks for is the Fremantle Dockers. Before we start episode 33 with Jacob, the Prepare Like a Pro podcast mission is to empower aspiring athletes and staff with practical knowledge with some of the industry's most inspiring individuals and to strengthen the AFL community. If you like the show, please show your support by following us on Instagram and subscribe to your favorite podcast stream. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube. So welcome on, Jacob. Thanks for jumping on tonight.
No worries. Pleasure to be here.
Let's go back to the very beginning, mate, when you first touched a footy. Can you remember the age that you fell in love with the game? How old were you? And take us back to the very start, mate.
I'd probably go back at least 10, 12 years. I would have been in pre-primary so about 5 or 6, and Dad brought me down to Auskick, and it all just started from there, and my footy just kept on developing from there and got me to where I am now.
Fantastic. So your dad, did he play footy as well?
No, so my dad's actually not from Australia. He was born in England and he grew up in England, and he moved to Australia when he was about early 20s, and ever since then I think he's just really been into footy, and he's obviously, it being one of Australia's biggest sports, he just kind of adopted it, and he really loves it.
Fantastic. So what did your dad play? That's really interesting. Growing up in England, was he into rugby, soccer? What was his favourite sport?
Yeah, so he grew up in like rural England, so it was like he grew up in a big in a big like rugby kind of area. So he grew up playing quite a lot of rugby.
Okay, cool. And was there any opportunity for you to play the game rugby, or was it always footy?
When I was younger, I always thought about kind of playing it just because Dad played and I wanted to just like follow him, but I was always quite good at footy and just always stuck to footy. So no, not really. I never really tried to play rugby. So
Yeah. Okay. And you've mentioned your dad being an influence on your career to date. Are there some coaches or players or other family members that have influenced your career as well?
I couldn't really put my finger on one. Like my dad's would be my main, just influence on my footy and just where I am now. But I couldn't really put my finger on a coach at any point in time who would have been more influential than any others. So no, I wouldn't say so.
Okay, all right. And do you have brothers or sisters?
Yeah, so I've got 2 younger brothers. One's 16 and one is 12.
Okay, and they're both into their footy as well?
Yeah. So the one who's 16, he's really into his footy. He's down at Claremont as well in the younger age groups. And my 12-year-old brother, he's into footy, but he's also really big into basketball as well.
Okay, cool. Fantastic. Sounds like an athletic family. You guys get competitive, you three?
Yeah. It gets very competitive in the backyard at times, and a few fights do break out here and there. So
helps your inside game a bit.
Yeah.
And what about 2020, mate? Obviously, it was a pretty challenging year for many. How was it for you? Did you have a good year? Was it a challenging year with footy? Take us through what 2020 was like for you.
Yeah, just like over in Perth, we're like quite fortunate that in terms of like coronavirus, everything was quite good over here compared to the eastern states. So like we did only get about a 10 round season in, but obviously it's like, yeah, like you guys over East is, yeah, it's obviously better than what you guys had. And I think I did have an all right season, like in terms of the circumstances. And yeah, I'd say we're fairly lucky over here.
Fantastic. So 10 rounds, what would a normal year be?
About
for you?
20 or so.
Okay, so still a big deficit. So you miss half your games. Did you have a good year though with those 10 games? Did you feel like your development was where you want it to be, and you're feeling confident going into this season?
Yeah, definitely. I would say I had a fairly good year. I was in the like Colts team of the year, which is like the under 18s, 19s team of the year. So as a bottom major as well, which was a big achievement. And yeah, I'd say I had a fairly good year.
And what is your favourite position to play in?
It'd probably be centre half forward. Yeah, I just really love moving up the field, but also getting that chance to come back and kick a few goals.
Yeah, nice, mate. And how'd you go with kicking some snags last year? Did you get a few? What was your favourite game or your best game out of those 10?
Would have to have been against Peel Thunder. Had about 20 disposals and kicked 5 goals, 3. I probably
amazing.
Could have kicked a few more than like that would have been my best game last year.
And when you're playing your best footy, like the game against Peel Thunder, how would you explain your style? How do you play the game?
I'd say so most of my goals in that would have been just isolated. The ball comes in and I'm one-on-one, and I'm using my body to either work my opponent under the ball or just having a run and jump at the ball. I'd say my marking is probably like an upside to me kicking most of my goals in the forward line.
Fantastic, mate. And what about going into this off-season, pre-season? What's a focus been? Do you have a particular goal in mind, or is it more? Do you have more a generalised approach to your off-season, pre-season?
Well, no. So going into the pre-season, it was always just to kind of develop to play with the bigger bodies in the senior team at Claremont. So playing against fully grown men rather than kids my own age. So I was obviously just pushing myself to be in contention for playing senior footy round 1. So I would say that's probably my main focus this off-season. Okay,
fantastic. So Claremont is where you want to be playing round 1 for Claremont?
Yeah.
And what for those that don't know what your training week would look like, do you want to take us through what a typical week looks like, starting from Monday, and take us through your week?
In terms of training or just life in general?
Training side of things. So like your skills program, who do you train with on, and how does it work over your week? Because you're involved with a couple of teams and programs as well.
So at this moment in time, like recently, it's just been I've just been down at Claremont because obviously like the states, like Western Australia and like Commission hasn't really been having the fundings to run. So I've just been at Claremont primarily. So on Monday, I'll head into the club at about 4:00, go have a gym session, then start training at 5:30. And then, so we train until about 7:30. And it's pretty much just, I do the same thing on a Wednesday and a Friday as well. Then Saturday mornings at 8:00, we have athletic development sessions. So that's for the first and third year players. We go down and just do a bit of like circuit training, like power training, off legs and that kind of thing, just to help with like the young developing players, just getting them athletically ready for the demands of playing senior footy. Amazing.
Sounds like a really good program, mate. And did you do this last year as well, going into the 2020 season, or is this the first time you've had a pre-season with the senior boys?
No. So I was would have been too young last year to be with the senior boys. So this year's the first year I've had a pre-season with the older guys. Okay. And what are some of the things you mentioned earlier offline that there's a fair amount of players that have come off AFL lists.
So I can imagine there's it's a good environment there and some good mentors around. What are some things that you've learned by training with those guys?
Yeah. So just playing with a lot of people who have been in and around the system, and even people who haven't been there but have been very dominant and strong waffle players. Just learn just a bit more like forward craft, I'd say. Just learning how to play on a bigger, better, stronger, faster defender. Like I think one thing I've really worked on is just my leading patterns and just things like that I've learnt from these guys who have been in and around AFL clubs. Cool.
And you mentioned that you do some extra work. You head into the club early and do your gym work. What's like a routine?
Yeah.
Do you do lower body on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, or is it upper body, or do you do whole body? What does that look like?
Since I do beframed, I generally like to keep them upper body so my legs are still fresh and ready to run during training. And then the days, so I'll go once during the week, either on a Tuesday or Thursday to do legs, and on a Saturday or Sunday, I'll also do a leg session.
Okay, so yeah, Tuesday or Thursday, you'll do your legs. So 2 leg sessions a week as well on top. So yeah, you got a good amount of workload going, and you're finding you're getting some good progress in the weights area with your strength.
Yeah, I'd say so. Like we have had to do these testings from the start of the preseason now towards the end. And I'd say just my strength and like testing has improved since then. And even though I haven't been gaining much weight, my skin folds have been going down. So I've been losing fat, as to say, but my weight has been the same. So I'd say that's a bit of correlation showing that I'm starting to, like more gain weight in muscle rather than it be there in other forms. So yeah.
Fantastic, mate. That's really good. That's it's a good preparation for what's to come in future years. Getting that routine's really important. The body loves routine. So it's great to hear you're part of a solid program at Claremont and getting that opportunity. I think that'll give you a big competitive edge, and as well as help you transition with, I'm sure your goal is to get drafted. That's something I haven't asked you yet, but is that the goal for 2021?
Yeah, of course. I'm sure it's a lot of people's end goal for the end of this year, but yeah, it's been a thing that really drives me and pushes me.
And when did you realise that was a goal for you? At what age were you that you thought, yep, I want to be an AFL player?
Well, like I've always wanted to be an AFL player, and like every young kid wants to be an AFL player, but it was probably in my state 16s year, so 2 years ago, 2019, was when I was selected captain of the West Australian state team, and I started getting notice from AFL clubs, and like had lots of AFL managers approaching me and telling me they were interested in me, and clubs were talking about me. It's when when it kind of hit me going, oh, this like could really be something here. So yeah.
Fantastic. And you mentioned that drives you. Is it something that do you write down your goals? Do you visualize them? How do you work on your mindset to keep yourself diligent to your routine?
Yeah. So I have, I'll even say that people around me, like such as my dad, he's really just on top of making sure I stay in this routine. But I have written down my goals and what I want to achieve this year, even if they are like shorter term goals. And then I've also got my longer ones, which obviously end in me getting drafted. So yeah, I'd say I have got quite a good routine.
Fantastic, mate. It sounds really good. You're clear on what you want and you're putting in the work. So that's a great recipe. What are you most excited about for 2021?
Well, obviously at this point in time, there's a few things. So the first thing I'd probably say I'm excited about is trying to push to make that to debut for the Claremont League side. Like if I am lucky enough to play there, that's probably the first thing I'm excited about. But then also in April we do have a a camp planned for the Australian Academy, and hopefully that end up going forward. And with Australia is doing better in terms of coronavirus, and we are moving forward, and hopefully that also does mean that trip will move forward.
What will be the plan?
Yeah.
Do you know, have you heard yet, or is that something that you'll find the details out when you get closer to the date?
At the moment, we're not 100% sure if it's going forward yet, but obviously, I'm excited, looking forward to it. And we don't really have a proper plan or itinerary yet about that trip. So just looking forward to that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, mate. Are there any other Perth boys that are involved?
Yep. So there's 3 other Perth guys: Matt Johnson, Rhett Bazzo, and Jack Williams are all involved in that team as well. So
You mentioned that you're going strong with Claremont. When you're not playing with Claremont, where would you be playing
in
your
junior
footy?
club or a amateurs club? I'm not actually. Are you saying in terms of like a club team outside of that, or?
Yeah. If you who would be some other teams that you might play for this
obviously
year?
the West Australian state team, but if I'm not actually signed up for a local club, just we're playing Claremont. But I would either be, I'm not sure, maybe West Coast amateurs club or maybe Scarborough.
Yep. Yeah, cool. And Riley DeCito sent in a question for you. I know he's a fellow Perth boy that you know. You mentioned off air he's the same age as your brother. So Riley's asking for a bit of advice. So his question is, any advice for players coming through that are trying to do what you've done?
So I would just say always work hard and probably always work on your weaknesses, but also make your strengths what are unique about you. So make sure you make your strengths better than anybody else's who also sees that as a strength. And if you can do that, and if you're the best at what you do, then things should start panning out for you. And just obviously just work hard in what you're doing. I think a big thing in that is having confidence in yourself and knowing that you can do and you can achieve what you set your mind to.
Amazing. Yeah, that's a real trend with the guests we've had on this podcast. It's obviously you got to work on your weaknesses, but don't forget about your strengths. That's what's probably got you where you are, and that will get you to stand out from the rest. What is a way that you mentioned marking is and jostling yourself in your defenders out of position and getting yourself in a superior position. When did you recognise that strength in yourself, and how do you go about strengthening that attribute of your game?
Well, for me, it's just been something I've always been one of the bigger players when I've played, and it's just something that's, I would say, probably come naturally to me. But even working on that this pre-season, you go to improve on that. You seek out the players the better defenders or the stronger players, and you engage with them and try playing them, and then see how you go. And when you know you can play on them, and beat them, find the next best, a person who's better than them, and just keep working yourself up. And if you keep doing that, then eventually, if you know you can beat as many people as you can, you should be in good stead for playing against other defenders. So yeah.
Amazing. Well, that's really good advice, mate. Thank you for sharing that, and thanks for coming on the podcast and sharing all your experiences to date, as well as things that you're excited about for this year. It's been a really good chat, and I'm sure lots of footballers that are watching and looking to get better, like Riley, will get a lot out of this chat with the gems that you shared throughout the chat. So thank you, mate.
No worries, my pleasure.
Awesome, Jacob. We'll speak soon. Thank you as well for all those that have listened to this podcast. If you've enjoyed the episode, make sure to join over 1,000 footballers by subscribing to our website, preparelikeapro.com, where you'll receive a free strength and conditioning program, as well as high performance presentations, which have been designed from our AFL experienced strength and conditioning coaches. If you want to work with one of those coaches, You can work with us one-on-one or online. All you need to do is direct message us on Instagram or email us at support@preparelikeapro.com. Thank you, guys.